size of the one that I'm doing today is 5 1/4 by 7 1/4. And when I pull it out of the envelope, you'll see what I mean. Here are the handles of the card. It's called a gate card because it opens like a gate from the middle. You can see that inside I've used this to create a party invitation. But of course, putting a different piece of paper in here, this could be a birthday card. This could be, it could say, if you had butterflies, it could say, this is a flyby high. And it could just be a note to a friend. What you put in here will dictate really the theme as much as the butterflies. In order to make it, we need to start with the gate construction. It is incredibly easy to make any gate card. Start with the size paper that you want your card to be. Fold it in half like you would normally see a card. This would be your finished size. Use this middle fold line to open it back up and bring both ends in to meet that fold. And that gives you your gate format. It does give you a crease in the middle. However, if you look here, my information sheet here is going to cover right over that crease. So I don't care that there is a fold line underneath there. If it bothers you to have that fold line show, there are other ways. It just means you have to measure. And I don't always. So what I've done here is I've shown you, because the dimensions of my butterfly card are 12 inches by 5 inches. Because it's 12 inches long, the halfway point is 6 inches. So I measured, and this part, this side of this piece of tape, removable tape, is the 6-inch mark. So with nothing in the middle, no crease here, I'm going to bring in this end and line it up with this 6-inch mark line and crease, and then I'll bring the other side in until it's flush with the first side and crease, and that gives you a gate card if you want to do it by measuring. I'm going to take the removable tape off, and before we look at doing the inside, let's look at creating the butterfly handles. You want to start by cutting 2 butterfly shapes. These happen to be symmetrical. I'm going to show you at the end lots of other options for gate cards. They don't need to be symmetrical, so long as when you're finished, you stack them together and you fold them in the same place. But before we get to the folding, we need to get to the decorating or the embellishing. So let me bring up some choices. If you took this and I wanted to decorate, you can Google butterfly images and you can make it look literally like a particular butterfly that's out there. I think it's a little more fun to play. So I'm going to take, and I'm just going to lightly mimic the shape here. And then I'll come down here. The beauty of it is you get to play. You get to do whatever you want. I'm going to add, this is where the body of the butterfly is going to be. I would do the other side, but I won't stop to do it right now. I want to come in from this middle section and come back out. Down here, oh gosh, I think I'll do this. I'll add some detail here. You can see how it's really just playing. Here's one that I've already done. And once you've got all of it decorated, then you want to do the same thing with the second one. So you're going to have 2. And at this point, you want to go back and just color it in. It's going to be faster for the areas that are black to color it with a permanent Sharpie. So I'm going to put a Post-it underneath where I work because otherwise it's going to bleed through, most likely. So I'm going to go ahead and color in the areas where I want solid black. I used a pen that has a finer tip and that doesn't bleed, a Sakura pen, to draw all the detail to begin with. And now it's just coloring it in. Once I've colored everything, all of the solid places in black, the permanent Sharpies, they dry really fast. So I'm going to be able to go back really fairly quickly, and I'm going to add the detail right on top of the black with a white pen. Anytime you start with a solid color, you add black over the top, you let that dry, and then you add white over that. It feels like you've printed 3 colors, but in reality you really haven't. So you can see how I've started. I would continue coloring all the other areas that are solid black, and if I bring over my finished one, you'll see what I mean. I've got this solid black, the body is solid black, and if you look at the inside, you matching the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to stop to do all that because that's enough for you to get the idea. Then you go back with the white pen. My favorite is the Jelly Roll by Sakura, and I'm going to just start adding details right on top of that black. And once again, this is where you get to play. You know, you can, it doesn't have to look like anything real. It can just be for fun. So just to sort of keep the geometric theme, I've got what looks like funky stripes, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add some dots, and I want it to look like, you know, a random pattern. The white against the black is such a cool look. So you're going to add as many dots as you want over all of the black areas. Once you have it fully decorated and embellished, it will look, in my case, something like this. At this point, you want to fold them, and they need to be folded together so that when you place them back on the card, what was the half of this one needs to match the other half of this one. So by folding them together, even a shape that's not symmetrical is still going to create one finished look for the front of the card. So I'm going to stack them together and finger crease. It's trickier when you have something skinny like the body of a butterfly that's tipped. So if you wanted to, you could pre-crease with your bone folder, but you can see I'm going to go back now. Basically, I'm folding, because these happen to be symmetrical, I'm really folding these little guys in half. Now, you have to imagine that this one is fully embellished, but what we're going to do now is attach them like so to the covers of the card, and you can see how it's going to make one completed image. And now you can see why it's important that you fold the two pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on what would be the inside sections. Remember, you're going to put way more adhesive than this, especially on the tips of that body. And once you have one side in the place you want it, press down so it will stick. You can open it up and really press down. Then the other side just needs to match. So once again, put it on the section that will be the inside. And if you're doing butterflies like me, get any little pointy areas. And then place this so that when the two covers are closed, you have one complete image like this. So I realize that it's a little funky because I don't have it fully decorated, but this is what you get when you put the two edges together like that. Now let's look at, I'll open this up, let's look at the inside of the card, because it's kind of fun to do some of the printing and put these clear stickers right over the top. I like the look of that. What I did was, first I cut a piece of paper that would nest right inside. And I used a ruler that has lines on it. This was one from one of the toolkits that I sold on the Home Shopping Network, but I have other ones that I've bought at Staples that have the same thing. It allows you to draw a line and then use the line you can see through and use it to mark your next line. So you can see I've lightly drawn with pencil. I would go back, I won't do all of these, but if you want the lines to show like this and be dark, you would go back and draw the lines right over the top. And I'll do, actually if I start at the bottom, then I won't smear it when I move it. So I'll do these lines. if any of the pencil shows, just let it dry and you can erase it. The reason I went all the way to the edge with this is because I'm actually going to put a more solid divider piece. So I took a piece of black paper and with my white pen, I added stripes just because it was a less expensive way to get the stripe pattern without having to purchase. You know what, it's so odd, upside down, I cannot tell when something is straight. I have to look at it right side up. I know it makes no sense, but I am going to maneuver this so I can tell that it's pretty straight. And then I'll trim off the excess. Could have just wrapped it around, but I didn't put my adhesive all the way to the end. Okay, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to handwrite my message. You can do this on the computer and print it out. I'm going to put "You're invited." Can't remember how big in order to make it fit. So let me kind of look at what I've got here. So it's about this size. You're invited. And it doesn't look so special. It does help when you go back and you add shading. I'll just do it with one letter to give you the idea. But once you see it on one letter, you'll be a believer in how cool this looks. I just pick a few areas to thicken, and I leave the rest trimmed. You can see how it starts to look really cool. I'm going to skip down and I'm going to add the information so that we can add stickers. So what I did is I have who this party is going to be for, and I don't need very much room for the date. And I'm going to list what time. Once again, I don't need very much room for the time, so I'm going to need more room for the address, so I'll put the place. I do have stickers. I mean, not stickers. There probably are stickers, but I have rubber stamps that will stamp this information. But as I said, if you don't want to handwrite it, I mean, I think it makes it more personal, but it does take more time and you can always run it off on the computer. Once you have the information printed, however you choose to do that, look at how cool it is to add these stickers. Well, these are from Mrs. Grossman's, and I'm not sure if they're still available on her site, but I did check, and they are available on Kitty's site, which is papery.com. We'll put a link up to it. You can see here is one that's still in the package, and then you can see all the choices. I use the ones with drinks, and I use the ones with some of the hearts and messages. There's so many cool choices. This for a child's party with any of these really big shapes. Look how cool this looks when it sits right over the top of the information. I mean, is that not fun? You just write whatever you want and then you stick it over the top. And since I had a drink sitting over this because this was going to be an adult party, let me find my tweezers, and I'll do this so my hand is out of the way. It helps it so you can see what I'm doing, but it also means that I can set it down and I can see when I have it straight. So if I want this to go right over the top of something so that it shows through, it's easy enough to do that. And then just go ahead and press it down. So you would add as much of the detail as you want, as you can see that I did here, in order to make it complete. Adding the stickers at the end is fun and easy and quick. Then all you need to do is close it up, slide it back into the envelope, and you're good to go. Now that's using a symmetrical shape. This is the exact same butterfly, but notice how just cutting it out of yellow instead of purple and a slightly different pattern is on the butterfly itself. If I open this up, you can see the solid butterfly. Slightly different pattern, not really all that different, and then different markers. And if I put this, if I folded these and put this on the yellow card, you'd have a completely different look to your card. But once again, this is symmetrical. So let me show you some options. This was from one of the companies that I'm licensed with. And these are finished cards that they boxed and sold. So this one, this is not a symmetrical shape. It's just folded in the same place so that they match when the card is folded closed. And when you open it, it says, "Thanks a latte." Here is one with a watermelon. Once again, it could have been symmetrical, but I chose not to position it that way. And inside it says, "You're one in a melon." I know they're corny. I'm corny. What can I say? Here is a birthday option that says, "It's your birthday, eat cake." Here is a choice more for a wedding or an anniversary that says, "Congratulations." Actually, it doesn't. You could say congratulations. That was what my thinking was. It could have been New Year's also. This one just says "Thinking of you," and it has a flower. And this one, the cupcake, once again, is not symmetrical. And it says, "You take the cupcake." But different, some of these are bright colors, some of these are pastels, some are symmetrical, some aren't. This, you know what, the gate cards, they're so versatile. You can change the butterflies to change the theme, to make a card or an invitation for absolutely any occasion.